Hi everyone, it's Amir here, and I'm doing my presentation on the Noruz Clinic Foundation. For those of you who are in Southern California, this clinic is located in Orange County in the city of Santa Ana, which is kind of a central location and is close to a number of other cities. They describe themselves as a nonprofit mental health clinic, as well as a public service and educational organization, and they have support from different companies in the community, and they mention a few of these on their site, including the Orange County Healthcare Agency, which is kind of one of the county agencies that provides support to them. They've also been the recipient of some awards related to involvement with mayors of four cities in Orange County: Newport Beach, Santa Ana, Tustin, and Irvine. So they seem pretty active within the community and within a pretty large population. So the name of the clinic is a Noruz clinic, as I mentioned, and Noruz is a word from the Persian language that means new day, and is also the name given to the New Year celebration that's celebrated in a number of Persian language speaking countries around the world, and is also popular in the U.S. among Iranian and other communities. So they really try to emphasize this theme of a new beginning for clients. The client comes to the clinic and they're looking to solve problems and get a new lease on life and kind of just do some things differently. The company was founded by a psychologist in October 2012, and on the team there includes another licensed clinical psychologist for supervision, as well as a board member who is actually an Alliant graduate, also a clinical psychologist, as well as an executive director, a secretary who has a law degree and a business background, as well as some other advisory board members and an outreach coordinator. I thought it was important first to mention the way they set up their fees. They have sliding scale available to their clients, as well as pro bono therapy sessions and free client skills training. So I think that right there, as far as talking about the recovery model, talking about access to care, the ACA efforts and the intentions of these different movements to provide care to more people in a reasonable way that's available within the communities. They sort of seem to be going in that direction. And this also allows us to keep in mind the population that the clinic serves, which I'll get to in just a moment. So as far as the mission or kind of the vision of this clinic, they do emphasize removing barriers of access to mental health and providing direct mental health services and community outreach. They focus on building and maintaining healthy relationships, identifying common problems or stressors in people's lives, and allowing, through treatment, helping those people to, allowing them to come up with new solutions and better ways of looking at the problem. What I also found interesting is that they address the stigma issue head on, and this is something we had just been talking about in class. So they have this free annual one-day event that raises stigma awareness. It's called the Unlocking Stigma Fair, and they use different stations. So they have things related to the arts and cultural displays to get people more on board about this very important issue of stigma and mental illness. So coming back to this issue of the target population, the name of the agency might appear to have a particular target group because of the fact that it's a Persian language word as the name of the clinic. But interestingly, that was only my impression. I think interestingly, they have a pretty diverse team, and their clinic and organization are pretty much open to anybody. Not really any restrictions as far as cultural background or language is spoken. And from what I could understand and in my research, it seems like that's kind of universal and available to anybody. They also have, along the lines to show their diversity of their client population, they have a page on their site called The People of Orange County, and it's sort of like that Brave Faces gallery that we saw in the video on ending mental health stigma. It's just profiles of people, talks about the problems they were facing, talks about what they did to kind of get help and recover from these things. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see. These are actual clients sharing about their personal lives, sharing very humbly, I think, with anybody who might just log on to the website. So as far as the target population, given the circumstances, I would think from what the clinic offers as far as their fees and just from their overall kind of the impression a person gets from finding out about what they're involved in, I imagine the people they're most commonly seeing, given the situation, is anyone who suffers from any of the conditions or diagnoses that I'll get to in just a minute, which there's a long list. Any age group, they're open to adolescents, and they see families. They do therapy for adults, all ages. A person who's either single or in a partnership of some kind, they also talk about that on their site. Those people who have limited or no access to healthcare, and that's something they emphasize. And finally, kind of by extension, that people who might be from maybe more of an underserved economic background, and that might be part of the related to where they're located geographically as well. So, but again, the company doesn't seem to make any emphasis on particular demographic. So as far as services, they use technology. They have online streaming videos for therapy that are providing educational resources to the community, so anyone with a computer can access these. They have a resources page, they have a blog, and they have a presence on social media, Facebook and Instagram and other places. They also provide a practicum site. They have internships, education for trainees at all levels, internship, associates, assistants, and even undergraduates. So how is the Neuros Clinic improving clients' lives and relationships? Again, they teach effective skills and tools that empower clients to reframe the problems they're having, to look at the problems in different ways so that they can come up with different and better solutions that will work to solve the problems. As far as conditions treated, they talk about treating anxiety, depression, marital dissatisfaction, anger management, sexual dysfunction, addiction, trauma, relationship problems, domestic violence, grief, and loss. And they talk about the following treatment methods. They include personality psychological testing, psychoeducational assessment and evaluation for teenagers, PTSD treatment specifically for our veteran population, adolescent and adult psychotherapy, couples counseling, family counseling, EMDR, biofeedback, and also offering talks on workplace wellness in place where people are employed. So as far as the services that they're providing and the treatment approach, looking at that through the lens of the recovery model, and I've attached an image to my post here that shows the numbers of clients they've had since 2012, which I thought was pretty good. They have a pretty large caseload of clients from what it looks like and different services that they're providing. So how does their approach sort of measure up to the recovery model and the principles of it and contributing towards citizenship for clients? Just to talk briefly about what we've learned so far in the class, the recovery model is talking about recovering a life, honoring subjective experience, and enacting the client's values, not just sticking to theories or to something related to what the clinician's bringing to the table. So as Rosenberg and Rosenberg explain in their book, they're framing the recovery model as something where it's very client-centered. Each client is unique. We've got to really respect that. We've got to really be open to that and learn from the clients. And so given the wide range of services that this clinic offers and their focus on portraying the clients' lives, how each one is unique, the different challenges, and their People of Orange County page on the website shows people from all walks of life, and it sort of gives you a personal view into these clients' lives and the problems that they faced and how they've overcome them, which I thought was, again, really wonderful. And their discussion of using a strengths-based approach to help clients overcome problems by coming up with better solutions so that the clients can just sort of move on with their lives. The clinic appears to be representing the recovery model's vision pretty well. I would also add to that that because they accept pro bono clients and have sliding scale options, I've always thought of that as a nice way to allow a place that's providing mental health services to eliminate coercive practice, as Rosenberg and Rosenberg talk about, and also it's kind of a way to limit how much the system makes it hard for mental health professionals to deliver care by being advocates for clients and helping them to get much needed services, including even just sort of free online resources that many people may benefit from. I thought there was a brief passage in Rosenberg and Rosenberg on page 13 that I would mention here given that context. They write, it seems simple, but in a reimbursement-driven system where professionals face productivity demands based more on billable units than outcomes, it is easy to lose our way. And so I think in light of that passage, sort of a nice reminder that we have clinics like these that are trying to do things differently and not just fall prey to the the challenges that the current healthcare system has. So as far as recovery and citizenship rights, because the two are very, closely linked, I think what the Norwood Clinic does well is that they're, doing what they can to recognize clients as people with lived experiences, clients who are the experts on their own lives, as we call it, local knowledge, and they're capable of establishing and working towards goals that are meaningful to them. And the clinic seems very supportive of customizing treatment for each person who walks in the door. And so there's this idea of getting assistance without turning your life over to others, as we saw in the book, Rosenberg book, reclaiming and reworking stories into a coherent life narrative and bringing meaning to it all, as far as the struggles, the joys of a person's life, and seeing the hardships as just one part of a person's life. So I think the clinic emphasizes that again. I know I've mentioned this People of Orange County page that they have on their site, but I think they're really trying to put that in perspective for people who are thinking about going to this clinic, to say, here are actual clients, these are the problems they've had, the ways in which they use their own strengths, their own resources to overcome them with the help of somebody who was sort of advocating for them or providing treatment in one form or another. Another thing I really liked about this clinic's approach in terms of the recovery model and citizenship rights is the whole addressing of stigma and talking about recovery model principles related to stigma and how there can be this marginalizing of people who are dealing with mental health challenges and different problems. Another thing the clinic provides is a large referral system for mental health providers that clients can access. So even if they contact this clinic, from my understanding of what they're providing, they contact the clinic for one reason or another, it's not a good fit, or they're looking outside of that immediate referral base, the clinic offers that as well. So it's another theme in the recovery model that we've talked about, is having people, giving people the chance to have options and to have shared decision making, not here's this one thing we use for everybody and you have no other choices. And so that way these clients who are trying to get into treatment can find the best interventions that work for them. Thank you very much.